So hello from a very rainy Cookham. So it's a Friday, midway through our project, our 4-week project, and loads of stuff has been happening. So I'm going to give you an update of how things have been progressing in each of our 2 trenches. So I'm standing beside Trench 2, which is the area where we're investigating our monastic cemetery, and we've made some really good progress in here. So the things we can say so far is that this cemetery has a clear spatial layout, so it's arranged in north-south rows, and we've been starting to excavate individual graves within one of these north-south rows. We appear to have a mixed population. We have a male of very tall stature in one of the burials that we've been excavating, but a more shorter individual next door who's more likely to be a female. There is a very complex area of the cemetery up towards the western side of our trench where we appear to have multiple phases of intercutting burial, and that's really interesting because that's beginning to show that we have a cemetery that was used over successive generations. Why the intercutting burials are confined to that one area of the cemetery remains to be seen, but it isn't the same further to the east, where we've just got single phase row alignments. The burials, as far as we can see, extend beyond our trench, certainly to the north and to the south and to the west as well. So suspicion that we might have quite a large cemetery seems to be correct. That's borne out by the discoveries this year. So really good results so far. We've got another 2 weeks to try and unravel more of the detail of the cemetery, its chronology and its spatial layout, but it's really exciting. At our second trench, so we're up towards the riverfront, the Thames, which is just beyond the northern boundary, and things have been moving really fast in this particular trench. So this is an area that in previous seasons, last year, we thought was perhaps an area of infrastructure, workshops, a lot of production going on, but our thinking has changed. And one of the reasons that our thinking has changed is that interpretation hung on these circular features, stone-packed features, which we thought were oven bases, on analogy with another contemporary site in London. But we've actually started excavating into these now, and they're clearly not ovens. There's no sign of burning. They appear to be structural. They have some depth to them, lots of packing. They appear to be post pits. So this, and there's a clear alignment, north-south alignment. So we seem to have part of a building that's very substantially constructed with very large posts on that alignment. So what we've probably got in occupying a large area of this trench is successive phases of a large north-south structure that could be one of the communal buildings within the monastery. There's much more work to do to try and establish that on a tighter basis, but that's what the indications appear to be. And some of the artefacts that we've been finding from this trench are consistent with that view. We found a fair amount of vessel glass, for example, personal possessions, not many objects associated with crafts and production. So really there's kind of a radical change in how we're viewing this trench in comparison to last season, and it just goes to demonstrate how important it is to actually dig the archaeology to inform your interpretations, and how your interpretations change during the progress of a project like this. So we've got some really interesting work to do in here, just to kind of try and draw out the chronology of these buildings and how they evolve over time. And then in our northern extension trench, where we've been searching for the Anglo-Saxon riverfront, some really amazing stuff in there as well. So our mid-Saxon occupation extends for a good way into that trench. We've got this preserved mid-Saxon land surface running for several metres in that direction. Then it appears to get truncated by the ditch that survives as an earthwork on the northern side of this parcel of land. But then it keeps on going beyond. So we've still got enough time to be able to push forward to the northwards towards the current day river to try and find the point of the Anglo-Saxon riverfront. Actually, there's one other thing that's been going on in our main trench, which is also pretty important. So we have a well that's dug into our east-west road way, and we've dropped that now, and we know from augering that it goes beneath the water table. So what we're going to be doing in the time that we have remaining is we're going to be shoring the top of the well and then working down into it. We're very interested to see if there are preserved organic remains. Of the well shaft itself, it may be barrel lined, for example, or constructed out of a sort of box framework, but there may be organic artefacts that have been deposited into the well when it went out of use. So that's going to give us a really important complementary strand of information of what life was like on this site. So overall, fantastic progress. We've got these two trenches providing very different but complementary forms of evidence for this Anglo-Saxon monastic landscape.